Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. This video is going to be special one for BS English Literature and Linguistics students. In this video, I'll talk about morphology, and in morphology, I'll talk about what is root, stem, base, and affixes. So let's get started. Word structure. It depends upon affix, root, stem, base. Every word has a base and one or more affixes or no affixes. It means there are two types of morphemes, bound morphemes and free morphemes. When we talk about no affixes, it means free morphemes that are words in their own selves. And every word has a base and one or more affixes. It means complex words, and let's explain it further. Let's take the word word. It has no affix. It means it has no prefix, no suffix, or whatever. Prefix. When we look at the word prefix, it consists of two parts. Pre means affix and fix means root. Let's take the example delimit. D is a prefix and limit is a main word that's called root, that is meaningful. Humanize. It contains one suffix, and dehumanize. It contains D and eyes. It means it has both prefix and suffixes. What is the difference between root and base? What is the base? Affix plus stem or affix plus base. Let's take the example. It may or may not be the word itself. Delimit. Here D is a prefix and limit is a main word. Here it is dealt as base. Limit is a base word here. And unkempt. Though in the first example, limit is the meaningful word and kempt is not a meaningful word, though it's taken here as a base. So the base is what it takes affixes with it, with itself. It becomes base. What's the difference? Root or stem? Stem is formed by root plus affix. Dear viewers, please make it clear that sometimes a word may behave as a root and as a stem or as a base. The titles root, base and stem, they depend upon the construction of the word. Nothing is predetermined here. Sometimes the same word behaves as a root and as a stem and as a base, but sometimes it behaves differently. Stem is formed by root plus affix. Stem and root may be the same. Yeah, in many cases, we can take the same part as a stem as a root both. Affix can be added to root or stem. Stem may be a free morpheme word. Stem, like a root, may stand as its own and it can be meaningful. Now look at the example. This will make you understand more. Activity. The word activity is the combination of active plus ity. So the stem here is active and suffix is ity, and but active can be further divided into act. So in activity, active is behaving like stem, and in active, act is the root which can't be further divided. The clear difference between stem and root is that root can't be further divided and root is meaningful. Stem is also meaningful, but mostly it is used with some kind of affix. Now look at what is the stem. Active is equal to act plus if. So act is behaving like stem and root both. Look at the example again. Activity, stem is active and root is act, and in active stem is act and the root is act as well. Here there is difference between stem and root, but here the stem and root are dealt as same. Now look at active, act plus if, and act plus if. Here stem is act and root is act. In active stem is act and in activity stem is active. This active in red color is the part of this stem activity. Activity is the combination of active plus if. Active is here as a stem and in active act is a stem, and in active root is act, and here again in activity the root is act. What's the common thing in both active and activity? The root is the same, act, but in active the stem is also behaving like act, and in activity stem is active. So here this is made clear that stem is the combination of main word plus some kind of suffix that makes stem. What is the root? Active, act is here root and affix if. This is very simple. What's the difference between stem and base now? A stem is also referred to as the base, especially if a derivational affix is attached to it. For example, acceptable here is base, behaving as a base for further making a word into, for example, unacceptable. Here, if the affix is inflectional, it is more likely to be referred to as a stem. It means what makes the word base or stem, it depends upon the kind of suffixes. For example, in activity, active plus ity. In activity, active is the base and active, act is the base, because both ity, ity and ive, if, they are both derivational examples. Inflectional affixes. He reads a book of stem is read because it takes inflectional affix with it. Another example, readability. Readable plus ity. Here, out of readability, readable is taken as a stem and base for unreadable or what else. And here in reader, stem is read and root is also read. So it has been made clear that stem and root sometimes behave as the same things and sometimes behave as a different things. It all depends upon the words. Hope you have understood the video. You can ask questions in the comments section. It's Allah Hafiz and bye bye from Tanveer Ahmad.